I want to say one thing. I started working at Swedbank in September 2010, exactly 12 years ago. And I don't remember that I have been ever called a pessimist. Usually I was called an optimist. Rosy forecasts. Why do you think everything is going to be fine? That was especially the case in early 2020, when the pandemic started. We started following different high-frequency indicators, something that we have not observed in the past. The daily card transaction of our clients. What are they buying? What are they not buying anymore? Where are they spending money? We started following everyday Google Trends data, where people are going, where they are not going, electricity consumption, and all the other things that I will not tell you. But quite early on, we became optimistic compared to others. And I remember we had a lot of discussions inside the bank, internally, because my colleagues at the risk department were asking me, okay, this is a terrible environment, true. Now, with the benefit of the hindsight, we know 15 million died. 15 million excess deaths because of the pandemic. But at that time, of course, our job is to estimate the economic consequences. Who will suffer economically? What will be the losses? What will be the effect on the liquidity, solvency of our clients? What's the effect on real estate market? And so on. And I don't remember exactly what was our forecast then about the real estate, but I mean, this was very difficult. It's always difficult to forecast something like real estate prices unless there's a steady upward trend. But during the pandemic, something that we have never seen before, during the lockdowns, what do you forecast for apartment prices? Well, so we said, okay, affordability is high, okay, minus 10%. And I remember my colleagues said, no, it must be like minus 30, look, minus 40. Look at 2008 and 9, that was a terrible setback in prices. Then the GDP, our initial assessment was minus 5%. European Commission saw minus 11%. The actual outcome, Tonu showed the slide, was 0. One contraction, 1 quarter, and then recovery. So I was called an optimist. I'm disguising and lying to myself and to others that this is going to be a bad year. That was not a bad year in terms of economic consequences. Real estate prices went up by 20% and then up by another 30% until today. So I was not optimistic, I was realistic. And now I look at the fact that purchasing power in Lithuania has fallen by almost 10%. Almost the same trouble is across Europe, not 10%, but in all European countries, in all our export markets, household purchasing power is falling by 5 to 10%. This has never happened during the last 10, 20, 30 years, not even during the global financial crisis, if you disregard the fact of the increasing unemployment. Electricity price, electricity rationing, gas rationing. I mean, in all likelihood, there will be rationing. This is already happening in Lithuania. Companies are shutting down their activities because it doesn't make sense to produce ammonia or toilet paper when the natural gas costs as much as it does now. What's next? On top of that, we have interest rates are increasing. They went up by 50 basis points in July, 75 basis points in September, almost guaranteed another 50 basis points in October, and probably a bit more in December. If you believe financial markets and market expectations, even more next year. That creates immediate strain on all companies and households that have loans linked to Euribor. 1.5% already now on top of that. Expect another 0.5 percentage point, even maybe more. It's I'm not pessimistic, but it's hard to say that we're going to have a nice winter, nice economic growth. So, but at the same time, realistically, I still don't see anything similar to 2008 and 2009 happening. Because of the factors that Tony mentioned, we have massive excess reserves. Households have accumulated 5 billion euros during the pandemic. Household financial leverage, private sector financial leverage is very low. Quite the opposite, 2008 and 2009, government can and will implement counter-cyclical fiscal policy. So back then it was higher taxes, need to cut spending because you don't have money and you can borrow at 11%. Now that's not the case. The electricity price is going to be sort of fixed for households. For companies, I think so as well. There is some resistance, but the reality will kick in. So this will mitigate the negative shock. There are a lot of factors stacked against us. We are going to have a recession. We saw already contracting GDP in the second quarter. From what I see from our leading indicators, this is also happening in the third quarter, and this is most certainly going to happen in the last quarter of this year when the electricity bills and gas bills will reach our households. But we had a very good 10 years. I mean, wages more than doubled, real estate prices more than doubled, minimum monthly wage almost tripled, deposits almost tripled. There is room for some minor setback without creating a large increase in insolvencies and unemployment. So we forecast a 1 percentage point increase in unemployment, but nothing very dramatic. I was going to ask Tonu if real estate prices are going to drop in Baltic countries, but I know you hate these questions. You would say, oh, it depends, right? Or you want to answer that quite openly. Yes or no? No, you cannot say anything. Yes or no?
Yes. I mean, certainly, if your purchasing power is contracting, then it will affect real estate prices as well.
Yeah. I've read opinions that the real estate prices will not drop because costs are increasing and there's a shortage of real estate. That's true. But on the other hand, you have vanishing buyers with falling purchasing power and spiking interest rates. So I think that some correction is due. But not a long-lasting, not prolonged problems. I think I should finish before I become too pessimistic and too gloomy. I wish you a warm winter, and I hope that this time around I am for the first time too pessimistic, and everything will turn out to be much better, and quickly all of the problems will be resolved. Thanks for coming. I hope that the pandemic will not strike again, and we will be able to do this again event live next year, and we will still be able to answer some of your questions that were left unanswered. Thanks.